bigger and fouler things than orcs in the deep places of the world.
That warning wasn't just Gandalf being cautious, it was a prophecy. Because at the western gates of Moria, the Fellowship met one of the strangest and most terrifying creatures in all of Middle-earth, the Watcher in the Water. It began quietly enough, a still, silent lake, black and glassy under the mist. No wind, no sound, just water. But Tolkien tells us that Frodo the Ringbearer felt something watching them even before the attack began. Now, was this the Watcher? Was this Gollum? We're not sure, but then came the tentacles, pale, slimy, and glistening. The creature struck without warning, pulling Frodo from the shore. In an instant, the Fellowship saw the full scale of the horror. Out of the water, a long, sinuous tentacle had crawled. It was pale green and luminous and wet. It wasn't hunger that drove the Watcher. It wasn't chance. Of all 9 members, it went for Frodo first, the one who carried the ring. Coincidence? Or did it sense something in him, something ancient, powerful, and calling to it from the depths? No one is ever truly sure of this, because after dragging Frodo to the edge, the creature was beaten back, only to lash out one final time, collapsing the gates of Moria behind them and sealing the Fellowship inside. Gandalf's warning echoed in the dark. There are older and fouler things than orcs in the deep places of the world. And the truth is, we still don't know exactly what he meant. For all the terror it inspired, Tolkien tells us almost nothing about the Watcher in the Water. There's no origin story, no species name, no neat entry in the appendices. It's one of those mysteries he leaves hanging in the dark, and that's exactly what makes it so effective. What we do know comes entirely from a few short passages in the Fellowship of the Ring. The creature lived in the still lake before the west gate of Moria, and it struck without warning. Tolkien describes its body only in flashes. Like we said, a long sinuous tentacle had crawled out, pale green and luminous and wet. Another grabs Frodo by the leg, dragging him toward the water with sudden violent strength. Aragorn and Boromir hack the arm free, and the Fellowship flees through the gate. But when they look back, the lake itself seems to rise and swallow the entrance. With a vast rush, the water poured in, and the Watcher pulled the doors down in ruin. And that's it. The creature is never named again. It doesn't pursue them, it doesn't resurface. The Fellowship and we as the audience are left only with the knowledge that something alive and ancient lurked outside Moria's gates. Even Gandalf doesn't explain what it was. He only says grimly, "The Watcher in the Water has taken the west door and the pool is rising." And again, there are older and fouler things than orcs in the deep places of the world. Remember this. Older, fouler. That's all Tolkien gave us, and yet those 2 words may tell us more than any full description ever could. If Tolkien didn't tell us what the Watcher was, then, well, what could it have been? Fans and scholars have debated its nature for decades. The 3 major theories rise from the depths, each as unsettling as the last. The first theory is that it is a creature of Morgoth, a relic of the First Age. We know that Morgoth, that original Dark Lord, filled the world with monsters of every kind: dragons, trolls, balrogs, werewolves, living instruments of fear. If the Watcher came from him, it might have been a deep sea horror, a creature of slime and shadow bred for the waters beneath Angband or the pits of Utumno. Over the ages, it could have slithered away into the dark places of the world, surviving long after its master's fall. Its strength, intelligence, and sheer alien nature all fit this theory. After all, one of Morgoth's Balrogs was asleep in Moria, so why not the Watcher in the Water having gone with it and hidden close by? Then we have theory 2, and that is that it's older than the world. Tolkien's use of the single word, older, hints at something more. Older than orcs, even older than Morgoth's reign of terror. Some fans believe the Watcher might be one of the primal beings that existed before the shaping of the world, entities of shadow and chaos that slipped into Arda when it was still being formed. Creatures like Ungoliant prove that this idea isn't impossible. She was said to have come from the darkness that lies about Arda, a being so ancient that even Morgoth feared her. Perhaps the Watcher was another such thing, one that crawled into the world's cracks and stayed there unseen and unbothered until the Fellowship wandered too close. And then we have Theory 3, that it was drawn by the ring. And this is perhaps the most chilling theory of them all. What if the Watcher wasn't waiting? What if it was summoned? When the ring bearer came to the lake, the ring's dark power could have stirred the creature from its slumber. Frodo was the only one it reached for. Not Boromir, not Sam, not even Gandalf. It's as though it knew what Frodo carried, or perhaps it simply felt the ring's call, as every dark thing in Middle-earth eventually did. Each of these theories could be true, or almost more disturbingly, all of them have the potential to be it. The Watcher in the water isn't just a monster, it's kind of a symbol. In Tolkien's writing, creatures like this often represent more than themselves. They're reflections of fear, corruption, or forgotten evils, and the Watcher is all of these at once. Its attack marks a turning point in the Fellowship of the Ring. Before the lake, there's still light, there's laughter, and open skies. But the moment the Watcher strikes, the story changes. The Fellowship crosses into Moria, into darkness, and then there is no turning back. In that sense, the Watcher is a guardian of the threshold, not in protection but in warning. It sits between light and shadow, between the known world and what lies beneath. It's the last chance to turn away, and when it collapses the gates behind them, that choice is gone. Tolkien's horror here isn't about gore or description, it's about implication. We never see the creature's face or its full form because it's not meant to be understood. It's the unknown itself, the fear that something ancient, powerful, and utterly indifferent is watching from the depths. And Gandalf's line, older and fouler things than orcs, drives it home. The Watcher is a reminder that the world isn't just haunted by Sauron or Morgoth. There are darker, there are deeper shadows, still lurking beneath their walls. The Watcher isn't evil in the way Sauron is. It doesn't scheme or desire power, it simply exists, hungry, patient, waiting. It's a glimpse of the kind of horror Tolkien rarely used, but when he did, it felt almost Lovecraftian. So it's safe to say the Watcher in the Water does feel unique, but it's part of a long dark lineage of Tolkien's monsters. Across the Legendarium, the most terrifying beings aren't just dangerous, they are ancient, forgotten. They're survivors of an age before the world was fully shaped. And that's what connects the Watcher to other horrors like the Ungoliants, the Shelobs, and even the Balrog. Ungoliant is the clearest parallel. She came from the darkness that lies about Arda, a being of hunger so vast she devoured the light of the two trees and nearly consumed Morgoth himself. Tolkien never explains where she came from, only that she was older than any living thing should be. Shelob, her last descendant, carried the same hunger into the Third Age. When Frodo faced her, it wasn't just another monster, it was evil in its purest, hungriest form, born of shadow and chaos. The Watcher may belong to this same lineage of primordial beings, things that crawled out of the void and never died. If Ungoliant ruled the darkness of the skies and Shelob ruled the darkness of the tunnels, then perhaps the Watcher ruled the darkness beneath the water. And then, deeper still, there is the Balrog, let's not forget that, the other ancient power beneath Moria. Two entities both older and fouler than orcs, both lurking in the dark under the misty mountains, both awakening when the Fellowship arrived. It's almost as if the Watcher and the Balrog mirror each other, one below the mountain, one before it. Twin sentinels of forgotten ages. Tolkien's world isn't just full of villains, it's layered with ancient horrors that predate them all. And the Watcher is one of the last whispers of that primordial fear, a thing that even the Dark Lords might have left undisturbed. What makes the Watcher even stranger is that it never appears again. It attacks once, seals the door, and then vanishes from the story forever. So why? If it was simply a predator, why didn't it pursue the Fellowship? If it served some darker will, why didn't it return when Moria fell into chaos? There are a few possibilities, and each of them makes the creature even more unsettling. Maybe the Watcher wasn't hunting, maybe it was guarding. When it destroyed the Western Gate, it wasn't just attacking, it was closing the door. In that moment, it cut the Fellowship off from escape, forcing them deeper into the dark. It's as if the world itself was ensuring they would face what waited inside, the Balrog. That idea fits Tolkien's pattern of fate. Evil creatures playing their part in a greater design they can't even comprehend. Another possibility is that the Watcher was territorial. It ruled the Dark Pool, and when its domain was disturbed, it struck with fury. Once the intruders were gone, it returned to its depths. It didn't pursue them into Moria because that wasn't its realm. Its place was the water and nothing else. Or perhaps most chillingly, the Watcher acted on pure instinct. It didn't think, it didn't decide, it simply reacted. The ring-bearer passed close. The darkness within the ring called to the darkness within the Watcher, and so it struck. It wasn't a plan, it was a hunger. Whatever the reason, its single appearance lingers in the mind precisely because it never is explained. The Watcher in the water doesn't die, it doesn't return, it just remains out there, waiting, somewhere in the cold and endless dark. The Watcher in the water really does remind us that in Tolkien's world, evil isn't always a will or a plan. Sometimes it's just there. It's easy to think of Middle-earth's darkness as a hierarchy, Morgoth at the top, Sauron beneath him, and everything else as their servants. But Tolkien's world isn't that simple. Some things are older than both Dark Lords, remnants of a time before Order, before the Valar tamed the world. The Watcher, like we've said, is one of these. It doesn't scheme, it doesn't rule, it doesn't even speak. It just exists, a shadow from before the light. Tolkien's monsters often reflect moral corruption, but the Watcher represents something deeper, the immoral terror of the unknown. Where Sauron symbolizes the will to dominate, and Morgoth represents rebellion, the Watcher stands for something older still, the lingering chaos that was never truly defeated when Arda was made. When Gandalf says older and fouler things, it isn't a warning about Sauron's forces. It is a reminder that some darkness has no master. Some evil simply is. And that's what makes the Watcher so frightening. It doesn't fit neatly into the story of good and evil. It's something beyond that. A piece of Middle-earth's raw, unshaped fear. It's Tolkien at his most Lovecraftian, like I said. A brief glimpse of cosmic horror in a world that usually keeps its monsters moral. And so, there we have it. What was the Watcher in the water? Maybe it was a creature of Morgoth, left behind when his power was broken. Maybe it was something far older, a being from before the world's shaping. Or maybe it was never meant to be known, a shadow that should stay unspoken. But whatever it was, the Watcher reminds us that Middle-earth is not fully mapped or understood. Beneath its mountains and under its seas, things still wait in the dark. Things that even the likes of Gandalf feared. But now it is your turn. What do you think? Was the Watcher a creation of Morgoth or something older and darker still? Let me know your thoughts and theories in the comment section below. And along with that, if you would like to support the channel in other ways, please consider our Patreon. It would really help us out in that up and down world of YouTube. But with that, thank you for spending just some of your time with me today, and I will see you next time on The Broken Sword.